You have ended a day exhausted, having done nothing that really mattered, and called yourself lazy. I am here to tell you that you are wrong about yourself. Laziness is not wanting to do something. You want it badly. The problem is not your willpower. It is your brain. You are not lazy. You are distracted. And this distraction is not an accident. It is a hijacking. The largest companies in the world spend billions to capture your attention. They want you lost in feeds, notifications, endless scrolling. While you blame yourself for not being able to start, I will show you the silent war happening inside your skull, and I will give you the weapons to win. There are two main neural networks in your brain. The first is the default mode network, or DMN. It is activated when you are resting, wandering, or lost in thought. The second is the task positive network, the TPN. It is activated when you are focused on a challenging task. The problem is that the DMN and TPN do not work well together. When one is on, the other is suppressed. Modern distraction keeps your DMN on all the time. Every notification, every vibration, every cheap new stimulus, all of it keeps you in default mode. You are alert but not focused. You feel busy but not productive. Your brain releases dopamine not only when you gain something, but when you anticipate a reward. And the design of social media exploits exactly that. The infinite feed, the next video, the next message, each one promises a small reward. You get trapped in this anticipation cycle. It is the same mechanism that keeps rats pressing a lever endlessly. You are not weak. You were programmed to fall into this trap, and the big lie you have internalized is that it is your fault. It is not. Now I want you to understand the difference between true laziness and attention fatigue. Laziness is lack of desire. Attention fatigue is excess of stimuli. You are tired because your brain has processed thousands of useless decisions already. Successful people do not have more willpower. They have fewer decisions to make. They build environments where distraction is expensive and focus is cheap. Neuroscientist Roy Baumeister proved that willpower is a finite resource. Every time you resist picking up your phone, you spend a little of that fuel. By the end of the day, you are exhausted. So what do? You stop relying on willpower. You start relying on environmental design. You put the phone in another room. You turn off notifications. You create sacred territory for focus. This is not cowardice, it is intelligence. It is using neuroscience to your advantage. It is stopping fighting the current and building a boat. Now answer me honestly. When was the last time you were bored for more than 10 minutes without picking up your phone? You probably do not remember. Boredom is the soil where creativity grows. It is in boredom that the DMN, free of stimuli, starts making unusual connections. Original ideas do not come when you are entertained. They come when you are still staring into nothing, thinking. We have eliminated boredom from our lives, and without noticing, we have eliminated the raw material of innovation. You want success, you need to reclaim the right to be bored. Sit in an empty room, no music, no screen, nothing. For 20 minutes, your brain will scream. It will beg for dopamine. If you resist, something magical happens. You start to hear your own inner voice. And it has incredible things to say. I know what you are thinking. This is easy for you to say. You don't know my reality. I have work, kids, bills, problems. You are right. I do not know your specific pain, but I know neuroscience. And it says the brain does not distinguish between stress from a boss and stress from a notification. The physiological response is the same: cortisol, adrenaline, anxiety. And distraction is a painkiller. You run from fear, uncertainty, meaninglessness by running to the feed. The problem is that the painkiller does not cure the disease. It only hides the symptoms. And while you are distracted, the problem grows. You are not running from work. You are running from the fear of failing at that work. It is safer to say I didn't have time than to say I tried and couldn't. Distraction becomes a comfortable excuse. So how do you break this cycle? The first step is the simplest and hardest. You need to label what is happening. When you feel the urge to pick up your phone, pause for a second and say out loud, this is an escape. It is not a necessity. Just naming the mechanism already reduces its power. Neuroscience calls this name it to tame it. The prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, activates when you put words to your feelings, and it helps shut down the amygdala, the fear center. The second step is to create a simple rule. For example, no screens in the first hour of the day. That hour is yours. It is for planning, for meditating, for doing the most important thing of your day. No negotiation. The third step is to use a distraction blocker. Apps like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or your own operating system's focus mode. You do not need to be a hero. You need crutches, and that is fine. There is a famous experiment with marshmallows. Children who could wait to eat a second marshmallow were more successful in life. For decades, the world interpreted this as self-control. But a new study showed that the most important factor was not willpower, it was strategy. The children who succeeded did not stare at the marshmallow. They turned their face, covered their eyes, sang a song. They changed the environment. You can do the same. Do not stare at the phone trying to resist. Put it in a box, in a closet, on another floor. If you do not see it, you do not want it. That is not weakness, it is wisdom. And for those who say, I need my phone for work, yes, you do. But you do not need it in the first 3 hours of your day. You do not need it during lunch. You do not need it while you write. Be honest. Do you need excuses or do you need results? Let's talk about the biology of attention. Your brain has a system called selective attention. It filters what is important from what is noise. The problem is that this system evolved for a world with few stimuli. Today, the noise is infinite. And your filter is overloaded. That is why you feel tired all the time. It is not lack of sleep, it is sensory exhaustion. It is your brain processing millions of bits of irrelevant information every day. The solution is not more caffeine, it is less input, it is reducing the flow. It is turning off notifications, leaving useless groups, unfollowing accounts that do not add value. It is doing a digital detox. And when you do that, in the first few days, you will feel longing. You will feel anxiety. That is withdrawal. It is like quitting an addiction because that is exactly what it is. Chronic distraction is a behavioral addiction. Now I want you to internalize a hard truth. You do not have a time problem. You have a priority problem. You say you have no time to study, train, build your dream, but you have time to spend 3 hours a day on TikTok. You have time to binge a whole series on a weekend. You have time to complain on your stories. We always make time for what truly matters. If you're not making time for your dream, it is because it is not really important to you. Or worse, you have already convinced yourself that you are not capable, so distraction becomes a refuge. It is easier to fail by distraction than to fail by incompetence. But I am here to tell you that you are capable. You just have not trained your brain for deep focus. Focus is a muscle. At first, it hurts. You can only handle a few minutes. Over time, you reach hours, but you need to start. Author James Clear in Atomic Habits says you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. The same goes for focus. You are not going to become focused. You are going to build a system that makes focus inevitable. For example, you decide that every time you sit down to work, you will put your phone on airplane mode and place it inside a lidded jar. The physical act of closing the lid is a ritual. Rituals are powerful because they bypass resistance. You do not need to decide to focus. You have already decided. The ritual executes the decision automatically. It is like tying your shoes. You do not think, you do it. Build your own rituals. It could be lighting a candle, putting on specific headphones, taking 3 deep breaths. The brain learns this set of actions means now it is time to focus. And distraction loses its turn. What if you fail? What if in the middle of your focus hour you pick up the phone? Great. That is data. It is not a tragedy. You notice, breathe, and come back without guilt. Guilt does not create focus. It creates more distraction. Research shows that self-compassion is a more powerful tool for habit change than self-criticism. When you berate yourself, you activate the brain's threat system, then you run to comfort, which again is the phone. Instead, say, I got distracted. That happens. Now I come back. Simple, neutral, productive. You are not your mistake. You are the person who keeps trying. I want to tell you about the idea of attention residue. When you interrupt one task to do another, a piece of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. Sophie Leroy's research shows it takes about 20 minutes to clear that attention residue. Now think about your day. How many interruptions do you have? Every email, every message, every trip to Instagram, each one leaves a trace. At the end of the day, your mind is full of traces. You are not doing anything well. You are doing everything poorly. The secret of extraordinary achievers is monotasking. They do one thing at a time, and they protect that one thing like a lion protects its prey. Do you think a surgeon answers the phone while operating? Does a pilot reply to messages during takeoff? No, because lives depend on focus. Your life also depends on it. Your success, your fulfillment, your happiness. All of it depends on your ability to be present with one thing at a time. Now, a practical exercise. Tonight, before you sleep, write down on a piece of paper the 3 most important tasks for your dream. Only 3, not 10, not 20. Tomorrow, as soon as you wake up, before touching your phone, you will do the first task. For 25 minutes, use a timer, no interruptions, then a 5-minute break, then the second, then the third. This is called the Pomodoro technique. It is not magic. It is applied neuroscience. Your maximum attention spans are 25 to 40 minutes. After that, performance drops. Respect your brain, work with it, not against it. If you do this every day, in 1 week you will have done more than 8 hours of deep work. That is more than most people do in a month, and you did not need superhuman willpower. You needed a timer and a piece of paper. Do you know why most people never live their dreams? It is not lack of talent. It is not lack of opportunity. It is lack of sustained focus. They start, get distracted, stop, restart, get distracted again. The dream does not die in one great tragedy. It dies in 1,000 small distractions. It dies when you open Instagram instead of writing 1 page. It dies when you watch a series instead of studying 1 hour. It dies when you answer a useless email instead of making the scary phone call. But it can also be reborn the same way. In 1,000 small victories of focus, every time you choose productive boredom over cheap entertainment. Every time you leave the phone in another room, you do not need a perfect day, you need a sequence of imperfect but conscious moments, 1 step at a time. And when you look back, you will see you have climbed a mountain. So here is my final challenge. In the next 24 hours, you will choose a single hour, 1 sacred hour. No screens, no people, no sound, just you and your dream. You can spend that hour blank. You can write 1 sentence and erase it. You can think, you can breathe. But you will not pick up the phone, you will not open the browser, you will not run, show your brain who is in charge. It is not the algorithm, it is you. You are the CEO of your attention, act like it. And if you get that 1 hour, tomorrow you try 2, next week 3, you will not transform in 1 week. But in 1 year you will be unrecognizable, not because you became stronger, because you became more focused. Remember, distraction is the illusion of progress. Focus is the reality of success. You are not lazy, you are a distracted genius. And it is time for you to take back what is yours. For those who will start right now, for those who will turn off this video and put the phone away, For those who will choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. The world is full of talented people who never did anything. People with brilliant ideas who got lost in the scroll. You do not have to be one of them. You have a plastic, adaptable, powerful brain. It is changing now with every choice, every second of focus. You are sculpting your future with your attention. Choose well, choose discomfort, choose boredom, choose focus. Choose to become who you were designed to be before the attention industry decided for you. Thank you. Now go. Your first hour starts now.